That's okay, Mr. Johnson. That's okay. All right, so I think we was at the breathing question. So I'm gonna repeat it one more time for you here. Within the past 2 years, have you been medically diagnosed or treated for angina, stroke or TIA, cardiomyopathy, systemic lupus, cirrhosis, hepatitis C, chronic hepatitis, chronic pancreatitis, COPD, emphysema, chronic bronchitis, or required oxygen equipment to assist in breathing? You took the medication, you were cleared of it. Now, let me ask you, have you fought that battle within the past 2 years, Mr. Johnson? You've been free of it for 3 years. Okay, okay. Man, you just made it. I think it sounds like you're able to answer no to that question because they're only concerned about it if you've had it within the past 2 years. Now, that means having it and taking medication for it. Have you taken medication for it within the past 2 years? Oh, you're good to go, man. You can answer no to that question as well, Mr. Johnson. Now, within the past 2 years, have you had a heart attack or aneurysm, or had or been medically advised to have any type of heart, brain, or circulatory surgery, including but not limited to a pacemaker insertion, defibrillator placement, or any procedure to improve circulation? Okay. The last question, Mr. Johnson, is within the past 3 years. Have you been medically diagnosed or treated or hospitalized for paralysis of two or more extremities or cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, seizures, Parkinson's disease, or muscular dystrophy? Well, I gotta say congratulations, Mr. Johnson. You do qualify for the plans that are available for you here in Maryland. I mean, you answered no to all of those questions. So they offer you what they consider to be the full benefit plan. So what I'm going to do now, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to explain the guarantees that we're going to be able to put in place for you here based off of those health questions I just asked you. You still have your pen and paper there, Mr. Johnson? Okay, all right, all right. Now, the first guarantee that we're going to be able to put in place is that the premium is guaranteed. Now, Mr. Johnson, I'm sure you've heard of a lot of different life insurance companies out here. I mean, you see them on the TV, you get things in the mail. You even got people like me calling you now, Mr. Johnson. We're everywhere. Now, the thing is, you do have to be careful with who you're dealing with because with some of these plans, every 3 to 5 years, the premium goes up on you. Now, let's say if you're on a fixed income, like a lot of my clients, or even if you're working, I mean, we're still on a budget. And it's kind of hard to maintain the plan when it keeps getting more and more expensive. So with this plan, Mr. Johnson, the premiums, they stay the same. You know exactly what it's going to be. There are no surprises down the road, which allows you to be able to budget around it. Now, Mr. Johnson, this is also what they consider to be the senior plan for the senior citizens. And I know you're not quite a senior citizen yet. You still got a few more years to go here. The thing is, the program used to be from the age of 65 to 85. They just dropped it all the way down to 50 to 85. So, Mr. Johnson, you do fit under what they consider to be the senior plan. And with that being said, they do their best to make it affordable under those state regulations of Maryland. Now, the most important factor that you want to know about any type of life insurance you ever come across, Mr. Johnson, is that the death benefit is guaranteed. Very important. Now, when I say that, let me ask you, do you know the difference between a whole life policy and a term life policy? You got it, Mr. Johnson. I couldn't say it any better. I mean, you can come over here and sit in my chair. Term. Well, that's the thing. I can give you either one. But I will say it, just like you said it, term is another word for temporary. So once you reach a certain age or you live past the term of the policy, then that's it. You have no more coverage. Yes, sir. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, oh wow, you sound even better on my end too. Okay. So like I said, we can offer you either one that you want, but I suggest a little bit different based off of what I'm about to say. Now, term is what they call temporary. Like you said, once you reach a certain age or you live past the term of the policy, then that's it. You have no more coverage. But the worst thing about it is that all of the money that you would have put into the plan at that point in time pretty much goes out the window. Now, what you qualify for today, Mr. Johnson, with us, what I recommend is what we call the whole life policy. So what that means is just like what the word says. It's going to be there for your whole life. No matter what age you are to pass away, they're going to guarantee pay out that benefit to the family. Now, yes, sir. Now, the other neat thing about the whole life policy, Mr. Johnson, is that it does have what they call the cash value that builds up with it as well. So the longer that you invest into the plan, the more that the cash value goes up, which you could actually use money off of this policy while you're still living. You know, let's say you had a financial emergency where you needed some extra cash. You're able to turn to your policy as an option. Now, it's also guaranteed and non-cancelable. Let's say after I get you enrolled here, you would have a heart attack, cancer, or anything of that nature. They're not going to cancel you because of it, Mr. Johnson. No matter what happens to your health after you're enrolled, you're always going to be covered just as it was from day one. Now, last but not least, Mr. Johnson, you've also qualified based off of those health questions for first day coverage. So once we get off the phone today, God forbid, let's say you were to pass away tomorrow. Well, you would be covered immediately, Mr. Johnson. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate to paint such a dark picture like that or look at the future in such a way. I mean, we all want to go one day. But the reason I do that is because there are a lot of plans out here where you have to pay into it for 2 or 3 years before the coverage kicks in. You've seen that as well. Okay. Not in this case, Mr. Johnson. You qualify for first day coverage. And easy qualification. I've already asked you the medical questions. You qualify for the full benefit plan. So what I'm going to do now, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to run the rates based off the information that you have provided. And out of the dozens of companies that we represent, we're going to see what the best options are that we can put in place for you here today, okay? All right. Now let me ask you, Mr. Johnson, what's your date of birth? 1/17/1960. Okay. And I'm also going to ask you, have you used tobacco products within the past 12 months? Okay, not a problem, not a problem. I'm using I just started using the, not a problem, not a problem. I just started using the vaporizer, the vape pens or whatever. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about, yeah. About 4 weeks ago. But I'm happy though because it's allowed me not to smoke a cigarette in about 4 weeks. It's been about 4 weeks. Yeah. Have you ever tried those vapes? Okay, the gum. Okay, I never even tried the gum. I think for me, I want that sensation of seeing that smoke in the air. You know. That little zing zing. Yes, sir. Right, right. Would you say it has slowed your smoking down when you have the gum? Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's good for a smoker because as a smoker, like for me, I was at 10 a day, about half a pack a day. Oh, forget about it. Forget about it. I didn't quit drinking. I'll drink me a beer every now and then. So, especially with my homeboys. I understand. I understand, Mr. Johnson. Well, I got some good news for you here, Mr. Johnson. You still got your pen and paper there? Okay. Now, one of the nation's most respected final expense life insurance companies, American Amicable, is ready to make you a conditional offer. Now, based on the information that we've discussed here today, Mr. Johnson, you can qualify for up to their maximum coverage of $35,000. So write that down for me, Mr. Johnson. 35,000. Okay. Let's also take a look at a $20,000 plan. Yes, sir. And let's look at a $10,000 plan as well. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, Mr. Johnson. I can always show you numbers in between there. We could even take it a little bit lower than that 10,000 if we need to as well. But let's start here and let's see where we stand. Now, if you accept the maximum offer of $35,000, that one is only $218 per month. Yes, sir. If you go with the $20,000 plan, that one is only $126 per month. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, if you go with the $10,000 plan, that one is only $64 a month, Mr. Johnson. Okay. Let's take a look at the 15. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. 15. Boom, boom, boom. Get quotes. 15,000. Okay. Now, if you go with the $15,000 plan, that one is only $95 per month. Okay. 95 a month for the 15. 126. Yes, sir. So take a look at those four. $218 for the 35, 126 for the 20, 95 for the 15, and 64 for the 10. So take a look at those four, Mr. Johnson, and you tell me which one is going to fit your needs the best. Of course, I always let my clients know you start with what's comfortable for you. As we go along, we can always increase it. Does that make sense? The 15,000 sounds good. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, Mr. Johnson, it takes me about 5 minutes. I'm going to complete your application. We're going to do a voice signature with American Amicable on the phone. They're going to give us the final approval right here, and you'll be good to go. Okay. Take your time.